All right, there we go. Good afternoon. Welcome to the afternoon experiment. My name is Emanuel Livingston. I am with you uh, until about 5 o'clock. I'm with you till about 5 o'clock. Thank you for checking in with me. Before you ask, I am wearing this shirt only because the little baby told me to wear it. Only because the little baby told me to wear it. All right. So what's on y'all mind? What's on y'all mind? I have to admit, I've been busy all day. Haven't really had a chance to kind of look into what's going on in the news. I know y'all getting tired of me saying that. I'm getting tired of saying that. Of course, I listened to the Lincoln Ware show today, and really all he talked about was uh, a caller of his. That's really all he talked about. So I'm not exactly sure what is going on in the city or around the world. I'm not 100% sure what's going on. I know the Pike County massacre trial is apparently still going on. It's dominating the news. Um, I know that they're talking about putting some decks over Fort Washington Way. That I know. Uh, Other than that, I don't really know what's going on. No, she is not negotiating my return. I don't know why she put this shirt on. Wear this shirt. So, I try to do what she say. I try to do what she say. Um, there was some shootings, of course, that happened, but I, I'll be completely honest with y'all. Other than that, I haven't really seen much going on. You got Donald Trump. You got Donald Trump. Of course, that's going on. Uh, all kind of stuff. He's trying to prolong things as long as he can, but it looks like he might for real be in trouble this time. He might for real be in trouble this time. So we'll see what happens. Somebody said that my volume is low. Hold on. Let's see. Put the settings on the faders. Turn the faders up there. Uh, Turn the volume up there. Hold on. Check, check, check. I guess it does seem a little bit low. So we'll pump that up just a little bit more. Bring the mic in closer. Um, Now turn this down because this is super loud on me. All right. Is that better? Is that better? Uh, I hope that's a little bit better and that you guys can hear me now a little better. Oh, let me back up here. All right. I will tell you that I am not coming to you from the sixth floor at the University of Cincinnati. I am not coming to you from there. Here is, you can talk about what happened to Lady C. I don't have any insider information on that, none whatsoever. Um, I heard the call. She says she's over there, and like I said on the chat, I feel like she, I've 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 known Lady C, been talking to Lady C, via the radio for a number of years. For a number of years. And like I said on the chat, I don't believe she has any mental illness. She crazy as hell, but it's not like some diagnosed crazy. It's just your regular run of the mill crazy. It's your regular run of the mill crazy. Not lock her up crazy. It's keep your eye on her because she got some issues crazy. If that make any sense. Like it's not necessarily something that she needs medication for. She just regular crazy, you know. LaDonna says what happened. There's a caller that used to call into the radio station. Her name was Yvonne Collins. She goes by the name Lady C. And she tells the story. She tells the story. I don't know the story to be true, but I don't know it to be false either. But she tells the story that she was at her house and some guy came up, Caucasian dude, and, was acting a little erratic. She apparently at some point during the conversation told him she would have to do whatever she would have to do if he kept reaching in his pockets and she felt threatened. I guess he walked away. A few minutes later, the Norwood police comes up, according to her story. The Norwood police comes up and the Norwood police asked her if she had a gun. But they said, "What's in your pocket?" And she said, "Candy." I like candy, but I don't just wash my car with candy in my pocket. But it's not against the law. Just seemed a little weird. But what's in your pocket? She said, "Candy." They asked her, "Do you have a gun?" And she said, "Yes, it's in my purse." And they arrested her. It all seemed a little weird. Here's my question, though. Not just for her, but for a lot of y'all. Why do y'all talk to the police? Why do y'all talk to the police? The police come up and ask you what's in your pocket. The answer is, I don't answer questions. That's the answer to that question. I don't answer questions. Do you have a gun? I don't answer questions. I don't answer questions. They got a right to pat you down for their safety or whatever. So they'll feel a gun if you got one on you, but it ain't none of their business if you own a gun, if you don't have it on you. It ain't none of their business. Why? Why do y'all answer? I know y'all think if I cooperate with the police and I'm, nice to the police and I answer all of their questions, it'll do away with their fears and their concerns and they'll leave me alone. And that might be the case sometime, but I've seen where a whole lot of times that's not the case. Just don't answer. Repeat after me. I don't answer questions. Not enough of y'all said it. I don't answer questions. That's the answer. I know you think, because you've been taught since you was a little kid, the police are the good guys and they're here to help me. And sometimes that's the truth. But sometimes it's not. Justin says, you gotta tell the police if you're carrying, I thought. Well, according to her story, she wasn't carrying. According to her story, she wasn't carrying.
My daddy texted you.
He did? All right, let me see what he wants. Not that. Okay. All right, there you go. What you getting ready to do? You ain't going nowhere yet. Why you hitting me? But yeah, no. You don't. Especially not if you don't have it on you. Do you own a gun? Don't answer questions. And I know for some of y'all, it's going like against everything y'all believe in. It's going against everything y'all believe in. Yo Underwood says, okay, man, you knock on wood, but if I get pulled over and say I don't answer questions and get locked up, you got me? Well, no. No. Just like I don't have you if you get pulled over and you answer questions and they say you incriminated yourself. No. But you shouldn't be answering questions. There's a really good chance that they're not looking for some way to let you go home. They're not looking for someone. They're fishing for something. I don't care if you just walking down the street minding your own business. You ain't doing nothing. Two police pull over and they say, hey, where are you going? I don't answer questions. I don't answer questions. You really think they're just really concerned about where you're going and they want to get you there faster? No, they looking for something. They looking for something. Somebody done did something and they think it was you. And you say, oh, I'm going home. I live down the street. What's your address? Well, I'm 3583 Vine Street. So what you doing out at this time of day? How did you get here? They're looking for you to slip up and say something. There's very little that you can say. You know, you can tell them, man, I live at 3583 Vine Street. I picked that address because when I grew up, that's the address I lived at. And that's the address that always pops up in my head. Okay, well, you live at 3583 Vine Street. Go home. Have a great day. You really think that's the way that's going to go if they jump out asking you questions? No. No. Do not answer questions. And pull out your phone slowly. Pull out your phone and start recording. Let me see. April says, from a longtime listener, Lady C always seemed just fine when she called your show. Look. All right. Full disclosure. Well, partial disclosure, because I'm not going to give full disclosure. But partial disclosure. I don't dislike Lady C, even though I say Lady C crazy. Lady C did crazy stuff to me. Lady C did crazy stuff to me. She legit was a regular. Like, they used to let me listen to her voicemails, calling my supervisors, trying to get them to get me fired. She was one of those. She even told the other supervisor that she was going to call on him because I must have some naked pictures of his wife or something, holding it against him, so she going to get him fired because he won't fire me. She called Pharaoh and told Pharaoh that I was spreading lies or whatever about him, which I hadn't been. And Pharaoh called me like, hey, what's this I hear? What do you mean what you hear? Well, what are you hearing? Well, who did you hear it from? Lady C, you know. And I'm like, no, that's not true. If it was true, I would tell you. I told him I kind of agree with that, but I didn't say it. Yeah, no, she was out there. She was out there. Her beef with me was that she didn't like my brother. But a lot of people had that beef with me. They didn't like Nate. And so in order to get at Nate, they tried to get me to get to him. But she went like way too far. When I got married, when she found out I got married, she called the radio station. She talked to me. She said, I heard you got married. I said, I did. You know she gonna divorce your ass in less than a year. I said, I hope that's not the case. Yeah, she don't want your ass. I'm like, what? I don't even know you. What are you tripping about? I said, all right, well, I guess we'll have to see. Like, she just, and I'm gonna use a bad word. And the bitch fat. And I'm like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Why would you say that? It's not true, but even if it was, so what? That's why I say she didn't have mental issues. I don't think she has a mental illness at all. But she crazy. But lady, she crazy. So I'm not like, yeah, good, they like that. I hope that she gets out. And I hope her story is, it's hard to say I hope her story is true, because if her story is true, that's a horrible thing for somebody to deal with and to go through. But I hope her story is true, and then she sue him and she get a whole lot of money. And I hope she get out soon, unless, of course, she did do some like real crazy stuff and they was like, oh, we concerned about this one. Justin Sharp says, who is Lady C and what happened? Oh, I just told the story. Because somebody asked me. She got arrested and put on like a 70-something hour hold, and they making her take some medicine or something against her wishes, which is terrible if that's true. I don't know if that's true. And all I'm saying is that's horrible. But according to her story, she was answering questions, and you shouldn't be answering questions when the police approach you. I mean, I don't know how many times to say this. I don't know how many times to say this to y'all. For y'all, and y'all always like, there's always a level of pushback because y'all been taught since y'all was little that you have to be. Y'all been taught since y'all was little. You have to be answering questions if they ask you. They're the good guys. You're not a bad person. You're not breaking the law. If you say to law enforcement, yeah, I'm not going to answer that question. When they pull you over and they say, you know why I stopped you? You don't have to answer. I was speeding. I ran a red light. I didn't use my turn signal. You don't have to say that. I'm not going to answer that question. Oh, well, where are you on your way to? I'm not going to answer that question. Oh, where are you coming from? I'm not going to answer that question. That's simple. And especially, do you have a gun? I'm not answering that question. Don't answer questions. Don't answer questions. Was Lady C the one who was completely smitten by J Love? No, that was 60 plus, and I think that was 60 plus. That was 60 plus. Because Zakiya was head over heels in love with Eric E.T. Thomas. Hold on. I saw Yo Underwood said something. Hold on. Oh, he says, now I see why Lincoln bullied you. I don't know what that means. Kenny says, USA own your black A. Obey. And a lot of people feel that way. Terrence says, Lady C, what happened to her? Anthony says, guilty by association, or guilt by association, collateral damage. Yeah, Nate rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And then they couldn't do nothing to him, so they would come at me. And I'd be like, I'm the nice one. You know what I'm saying? And y'all coming for me. Just because I'm the nice one don't mean I'm always going to be nice. Let's see. Janice says, stop using all that foul language in front of the little baby. Did you hear what I said? She ain't hearing me at all. Kenny said, I don't think she was BSing. I hope everything turns out well for her. And somebody said, I'm going to go over to Norwood Police Department and I'm going to get the body cam footage. And that's cool. You can go in and put in a records request. But you're not just walking over there like, give me the body cam footage, and they like, okay, here you go. Have a nice day. That's not how it works. There's a period that they have to respond to your request. I really do think, and I'm going to have to start it during the winter. Yeah, I hate the cold. I'm telling y'all this up front so that y'all know what I might be about to sacrifice. Note all the qualifiers I'm putting on it. I'm letting y'all know what I might be about to sacrifice for y'all. Because I really do believe that people don't know. They don't know some of this stuff. Some people really do believe, oh, it's a record. I can just walk down there and walk in and get it, walk out, and then I'll give it to you, Lincoln. But that's not how it worked. So what I'm thinking about doing, and I think I've said this before, and I'm really seriously thinking about doing it. What I'm thinking about doing is just doing a series of videos. They won't necessarily be First Amendment audits, although I fear that they will turn into them. But just do a series of videos going over how to do things in person with your local and county government. And then eventually maybe I'll even move to the state. So how to go in and put in a records request. I might do that and just take a camera and walk in and, hey, I need to put in a records request. Got a form. And, just walk everybody through it. I might do that. It'll be cold. Oh, I hate the cold. Oh, I hate the cold. Scott said, you got to know your rights. Terrence says, Nate is cool. Nate done got me in more trouble. He done got me in more trouble. Anthony says, you gonna get people hooked up, bro. You have to tell if asked about having your weapon on you. First, I don't know if that's true. But second, if you don't have a weapon on you, you do not have to answer whether or not you have a weapon. If a police officer walks up to me right now, well, he would have violated a number of laws to get in my house and then be down here in the studio. But if I'm on the street, out in my driveway, washing my car, and the police walk up to me like, do you have a gun? I'm going to be like, I don't answer. I'm not going to answer that question. Because I don't have it on me. So even if I own one, I don't have to. She says she didn't have it on her. So even if I own one, even if I carry one, even if I have a concealed carry permit, if I don't have it on me, I don't have to answer that question. I don't have to answer that question. You're the nice one. I am. Who is the oldest? You or Nate? Nate is a year older than I am. He's a year older than I am. R. Wash says, both of y'all some arrogant narcissists, know-it-alls. Well, thank you. Thank you. I always like it when people acknowledge that I know a whole lot of stuff. I don't know it all. I know most of it. So I appreciate the compliment. Jay, man, I need to holler at you, bro. I need a haircut. We'll get back to it, but I need to holler at you. Let's see. McConnell says they'll respond to your request of seeing the video after they fix it up. They may, because we've seen it where they redact things. So when they say, well, we don't edit the videos, they clearly edit the videos. Some of it is necessary. They'll blur out, people's faces, license plates, or, other things like that. But, yeah. Sierra says, what's the topic? Right now, there was a young lady. How young? There was a lady who says that she was basically arrested for nothing, put in a psych ward, and they're trying to force her to take some medicine, and she didn't do anything wrong. And, I wish the best for her in that whole situation. But one of the things when she told her story on the Lincoln Ware show, one of the things that she said was that the police walked up to her and they asked her two questions. I think she said they asked her a couple more, and she did answer them. But the two that stood out to me was, number one, what's in your pocket? She said she had candy in her pocket. She was in her driveway washing her car. And who, when they're washing their car in their driveway, don't have a pocket full of candy? And number two, she said they asked her, did she have a gun? And she said, yeah, it's in my purse, which apparently was not on her person. And I'm saying, it's not a good idea to answer either of those questions. It's not a good idea to answer any questions. Some white dude comes up to you talking crazy, and the police come up very shortly thereafter and then start questioning you. Don't answer questions. And so now what's happening is there are a lot of people kind of pushing back because there are a lot of people who really believe either, number one, you have to answer questions when the police ask you. You got that right to remain silent. Well, they ain't read you your rights yet. Don't matter. You still don't have to answer questions. There are so many amendments to the Constitution. If I could only pick one. You know what I'm saying? Just shh, shh. Silence is better. Taja, that's my niece. She says that's a good idea. I think she's talking about me just going around and doing things in the city of Cincinnati and in Hamilton County and just carrying a camera with me, recording myself going down to pay property taxes, recording myself going to pay my water bill, recording myself going to a city council meeting, recording myself putting in a records request at City Hall, at the police station, at the courthouse, all of that kind of stuff. Man. Jay says, I keep mine on me at all times. Well, you still don't have to answer the question. Look, you always, always have a right to remain silent. I think the only time when you maybe don't have a right to remain silent, and I'm kind of going out in the weeds here, is if you are in court, on the stand, sworn in, and have been given immunity. Then I think they can compel you to testify. That's the only time I do believe that is the only time that you are compelled to answer questions. And then they can, when you're in contempt, and they can put you in jail for not answering questions. But other than that, you can choose not to answer questions. Kamikia says, I think it's great people are concerned, but I think they should let Lincoln and maybe one or two professionals try to find out what happened. Lincoln is not a great person to find out what happened. He is not. He's not. Let some professionals find out and then relay the information to Lincoln. There are too many chefs in the kitchen. I was like, Lincoln is not the person. He is not the person. Let's see. If you are carrying under your concealed carry permit, you have to answer. I'm not sure about that. That's why I said I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. So I'm not going to tell you something I'm sure about something that I'm not sure about. But I'm not sure about that. And here's why I say that. My understanding is I don't have a concealed carry permit. I never had a desire to get one. And now that I would never have to get one in Ohio, I would never get one. But I think you have to maybe let them know that you're carrying it. That's different than answering a question. When they first walk up, that's the first thing you say. I have a concealed carry permit and I'm carrying my weapon on me. You didn't answer a question. Then if they ask you again, do you have a weapon on you? You already answered that question. So I'm not answering any more questions. They can't compel you to answer questions. They can't. McConnell says if you black and you do have a weapon, your best bet is to say no anyway, for real. How you think it's going to go if you say yes? I'm saying no. And I'm just saying nothing. I'm saying nothing. I'm not answering. Y'all, this really ain't that hard. You don't have to answer questions. You are not required to help the police investigate you. You're not. Brenda says you don't have to tell them when they ask you for a weapon. Then wait around 5 extra police cars to show up to the scene along with the 5 already there. Okay, and I don't care if it's one police officer or if it's 800 police officers. I mean, I'm not sure what you were saying by that. I'm just saying, for me, not concerned about it. Not concerned about it. Veronica says Nate is an intelligent black man for sure. He is that. Jay says he gonna inbox me the number. Thank you. The King of Talk should boycott the NBA for the suspension of the Celtics coach. I don't know about that. Why? Explain to me why. Explain to me why that would make me boycott the NBA. I might do it. But explain to me. Janice says, don't they have to give you a reason why they even stopped you before asking a question? No. They don't have to tell you why they stopped you. They don't. Now they're supposed to, have a reason, and in particular cases, reasonable to ask you for ID. They should have reasonable articulable suspicion of a crime, but that doesn't mean that they have to articulate it to you. Doesn't mean that. They just have to have it. And they have to be able to articulate it at a certain time, but not to you. Like if they pull you over and they say, you know why I pulled you over? And you say no, they don't have to say, because you were speeding. They don't have to do that. I think a lot of them do. But they could just say, give me your driver's license and your proof of insurance. Do they still ask for registration? I don't even carry my registration in my car. If they ask for registration, I'm not giving up my registration. I'm not giving them the registration to my car. I give them my driver's license. I'll give them my proof of insurance. But I don't give up my no registration. I don't do that. But no, Janice, they don't have to show you or don't have to tell you why they stopped you, why they pulled you over, any of that kind of stuff. They don't really have to tell you that. Brenda says, washing your car while black. Kenny says, we at war. Okay. R. Wash says, that wasn't a compliment, Frederick Douglass. I felt like a compliment. What I heard was, you and your brother think highly of yourselves, and you know a lot of stuff. Sound like a compliment to me. Maybe you just didn't know how to give it correctly, but it sounded felt like a compliment. So I take it that way, and if you didn't mean it that way, then oh well. I'm taking it that way, and there's nothing you can do about it. Brenda says, stop being difficult. Answer the question. No. Anthony says, you always doing things, just never finish anything. That's not true. Rachel says, what made them stop to ask her questions anyway in her yard? Because she says that there was a guy who had come up and he was acting a little erratic, kept putting his hands in his pockets and, was kind of talking crazy to her. And she told him, basically, get away from me. But if I feel threatened, then I'll do what I have to do. I can't say that that wasn't the case. Again, I've talked to her a number of times, and maybe she just saves all of the anger and whatnot for me. But I don't know that she's ever talked to me that calm when we were at odds. So, I don't know if that was the case with him, but I think she speculated that maybe he went up and told the police that she threatened him, and that's why they would approach her in her yard. Um, what's up with the buzz shirt? You getting your job back or you miss it? The little baby told me to wear this shirt. The little baby said, wear this shirt. I kid you not. That's what she said. I asked her why. She just said she liked the shirt. We were in my closet and I asked her, I had another shirt and I was like, I'm gonna wear this. And she said, no, don't wear that. And I said, what? And she said, no, don't wear that. And I said, well, what shirt should I wear? And she pulled this one out and she said, I like this one. There you go. Little baby liked the shirt. I'm gonna wear the shirt. Um, Only cat I know who starts 50 projects and never finishes any of them. I finished a lot of my projects. Edward says, we were raised to respect the police and out of habit answer questions. We have to retrain ourselves that this is not a requirement when dealing with police. True. Very true. And that's what I'm trying to do. Robert Willis says yes. Uh, Let me see. Pamela says Lincoln couldn't get the refrigerator lady's situation resolved. I'm sure he can't fix this situation either. He can't. He can't. Uh, did you miss a little bit? No, a little bit. She right here. She right there. She be kneeling down sometimes. Yo Underwood says, I'm a CCW holder. You have to let them know. Again, I thought I explained that. Police come up to you. You say, I have a weapon. I have a concealed carrier, whatever the verbiage they tell y'all have to say. You say that. He didn't ask you a question. You didn't answer a question. Now, you've already let him know. So then if he asks you again, do you have a weapon? You already answered that question. You don't have to keep answering the same question. Or you already alerted him that you do. So you don't have to keep answering that same question. I thought I already said that. Is this thing on? 1, 2, check. 1. Look like it's on. Did someone contact her family and a lawyer? I have no idea. I'm not contacting her family or a lawyer for her. Although I wish the best for her. That's not my lane. That's not my lane. If she could call Lincoln, you would think that she could call her family member. Or you would think that she could call a lawyer. Robert says, yes, you do have to say it if you got it. That's if you got a CCW. That's if you got a CCW. And like I said, you just say it. You say it. You let them know right out the gate. And is this? 1, 2, 1. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Okay. Kenny, am I suspected of a crime? That's a good question to ask. Livingston, why don't you just ask Google? You have it right there. What am I asking Google? What am I asking Google? Just curious. Just curious. Anthony says 2 different scenarios. Not sure what you're talking about. Fame says, y'all don't get it. Emanuel is right. You always had a right to remain silent. Judge Rehnquist was trying to lead a charge to abolishing cops having to read the Miranda right in a 2009 book. Rehnquist, I always butcher his name, Rehnquist said, "What American doesn't know the words, you have the right to be silent." Or what American doesn't know the words, you have the right to be silent. Quintano say, people be super scared to answer questions. Do you mean they be scared to not answer questions? Because they answer questions. People answer questions like crazy. Um, People be super scared to go to jail. That's true. That's true. Terrence says, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I think that when you're black, anything you do, even if it's lawful, the police would consider it hostile. Just since I agree. Since they already gonna consider it hostile, why give them ammunition? Why give them ammunition? Do you have a gun? Oh, hold on, y'all. I gotta fade to black. I gotta take the little baby upstairs, and her daddy here to get her. Give me a few minutes, all right? All right. Let's see. Oh, how did that get pulled out? All right, I'm back. Running up and down them stairs. Um, all right, let's see. Nat says, in Ohio, you have to inform the police officer if you have a gun. Well, y'all answer all the questions y'all want to answer there. Y'all answer all the questions y'all want to answer. Janice says, that's what I mean. They do have to tell you why they stopped you. They don't. They don't. Tony says, when I look at those First Amendment honest, they demand the police to tell them why they are stopping them. You can demand whatever you want to do, and they may tell you, they may not. They don't have to. They don't have to tell you. Let's Let's see. Carolyn says it's 3 o'clock. It's throwing me off. Sorry, Carolyn. Sorry. Um, did y'all know by now, no matter what you say, you can't get under E-Man's skin? Hey, yes you can. I get offended just like other people, just not off of nonsense. You gonna call me a know-it-all and I'm supposed to be hurt behind that? Stop it. Stop it. Um, Anthony, is that transmission in? No. Are the trees cut down? No. Is the scooter up and running? No. Is all the plumbing in the house done? No. But do you know how many other projects are done? Do you know how many other projects are done? Those are just the big four that I've told you about. I don't tell you about all the projects. I don't tell you about all the projects. I could run off a litany of projects and you'd be like, wow, that's a whole lot of stuff. And I'd be like, I know. I don't tell you everything. Let's see. You should video yourself at different police stations around the city interviewing police officers. Maybe they will show you how to file complaints against them. You might get arrested. I just watched a video of a dude getting arrested twice for trying to file a complaint against police. But I will go to police stations. I'm telling you, I will do this at some point. Exactly when, I don't know. It's getting cold. I don't like the cold, but I'm going to probably be out here in the cold doing it. And just going and getting records requests, getting complaint forms, all of that good stuff. It's going to happen. The Celtics coach was unjustly suspended because he had an affair with the vice president's wife. Okay. And that's no reason for me to boycott. He shouldn't have been having an affair with the vice president's wife. That don't sound like horrible policy to me. That don't sound like horrible policy to me. I would imagine. I know Radio 1. They got this little policy. They kind of frown on office romances and stuff like that. But I would imagine, since Terrence is here, I would imagine, Terrence, if you went and he ain't even the vice president of the company. But if you went and had sex with Dan's wife, I would imagine you might face some repercussions for that. And she don't even work there. That's not even an office romance. Terrence says, I remember when Lincoln tried to hook me up with Lady C. Yikes. TC says you have to say, I do not own the rights to this shirt before you get kicked off. I own this shirt. If they don't like it, come and take it off of me. She ain't running nothing. She just made a request. I love the little baby, so, I like to see her happy. Let's see. I'm a little behind on my comment. Pamela said, if I'm ever in a situation like Lady C, my phone call for the day definitely wouldn't be to Lincoln. I don't think that was a bad idea. I just, if it was her only call, that wouldn't have been my choice. But if I'm in a situation, I'm not calling Lincoln because I know Lincoln will mock me unbelievably. I could be laid up in a hospital bed. I just got shot 9 times by the police. I got video proving I didn't do nothing wrong. And Lincoln would be, well, what did you do? What did you do? You had to do something. They wouldn't just come up to you and shoot you 9 times for doing nothing. And I'd be like, Lincoln, I got watch the video. You must have did something to the video. What did you do? And I'd be like, oh, I'll be mad as hell. Lincoln be, and I think I heard you say one day that you're a the police. And I'll be like, I never said that. And he had me in trouble. He'd be on there testifying against me. No, Lincoln definitely wouldn't be my call. Definitely wouldn't. Maybe if Raven was sitting in for Lincoln, I'd get a fair shot. But no. Jay says, first of all, you don't have to say it. When they run your tags, it comes back that you are a CCW holder. That's fine, but I'm talking about not answering questions. I don't understand the pushback on this. For the life of me, I don't understand the pushback on this. I'm just trying to tell y'all something that might help y'all stay out of trouble, and y'all want to keep pushing back on this. What I'm telling you is, if there's a provision that you have to alert law enforcement, if you have a CCW and you're carrying, when they first approach you, tell them, I have a CCW and I'm currently carrying. That takes care of all of that, and then you don't have to answer any questions. I promise y'all, some of this stuff I say, I don't understand how it goes on for 30 minutes when there's no reason to push back on this. None. No reason whatsoever. What I'm telling y'all is actual and factual. Anthony says, you didn't make that distinction when you initially... I did make that distinction when I initially said it. I did. Let me see. I got a call coming in. Oh, go here. Caller.
Hey, man, this is Robert Willis.
Hey, Robert.
Hey, on the CCW, I had my license since they first came out.
All right.
You had to tell them when they first pulled you over. But now, since the laws have changed that anybody can carry a gun, you don't have to tell them. But if they ask you, you do have to tell them that you have it. That's the way the laws is now. Now you don't have to tell the police when they pull you over, because they pull you over, you don't have to tell them because anybody can carry a gun. But if they ask you, do you have a gun, you have to report that you have that gun on you.
And what's the punishment if you don't?
You go to jail. They can arrest you on the spot if you don't tell them. If they ask you and you don't,
and that's if you have a CCW.
That's if you got a CCW. If they come up to you and ask you, do you have a gun? If you tell them no and they find a gun on you, you go to jail. If you tell them you have the gun, while you got your CCWs, you good.
What if
they ask you, you have to tell them.
All right. What if you already told them when they first walked up, and then they ask you again, and you say, I choose to remain silent?
You don't have to, they can't, when you go up to the car, when they come up to the car now, since the laws have changed, where when they came up to the car, you did have to tell them that you had your gun on you. Now the laws have changed.
Okay.
Since everybody's carrying in Ohio now, they if they ask you, then you have to tell them. You don't have to tell them when they come up to your car now.
But if you have a CCW,
if you got a CCW,
my suggestion,
they walk up to your car. If you got a CCW and they walk up to your car, you don't have to say, "Oh, I got my CCWs," because now it's not required. But if they ask you, "Do you got a gun on you?" you have to acknowledge that they got the gun.
So then my suggestion would be, when they first come up, if you have a CCW and you're carrying, to say, "I'm carrying."
Yeah, and then that's it.
And that's
you
it.
already acknowledged you had it, right?
Exactly.
So it go back to the old ways when they used to come up to your car, and then they, you tell them, like, because I had mine since they have them. Anytime they walk up to my car, I tell them I have my gun on me, and you know what I'm saying, because I don't want to get shot by no renegade police. So anytime like they come,
that won't necessarily stop you from getting shot by a renegade police officer, though. You know that, right?
Yeah, I know,
Okay.
I know, but you know what I'm saying. I do acknowledge that. I asked them. I got stopped on 32 one time. State trooper pulled me over. I let him, just before the laws had changed. I told him I had a gun. I said, "What do you want me to do with it?" He talking about something, pull it out. I said, "I ain't pulling nothing out. I move over where you can pull it out, but I'm not pulling it out. And then they said, well, fine, just leave it right there. Just keep your hands where I can see them. And that was it.
All right.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Hey, thank you for calling.
All right. Bye.
All right. Look, y'all. I don't know why there's pushback, but you have the right to remain silent. You have a right to not say anything that will incriminate you. I don't understand why there would be pushback on this. Um, the greatest storyteller ever. I kind of like that name. Says the brother was suspended while the woman faced no disciplinary action for breaking a rule, and she is the one who was married. That is extreme racism. I don't know if that's extreme racism. I don't know if it's extreme racism. Why is it racism? I'm not saying it's not. Just walk me through this. Why is it extreme racism? Sound like sexism. Racism? Walk me through why it's extreme racism. Jerica says, I remember when Terrence was scared of the woman who offered to take him out. Dan says, true, because Dan will find a reason to fire me unless Dan is a cuck. I don't know about that. What happened to Lady C? All right, one more time, because I know people join later and people miss stuff. Apparently, she was arrested, put in a 72 psych hold, 72-hour psych hold, and allegedly they're telling her now, even after a 72-hour hold, they won't let her go until she takes some medicine. She doesn't want to take the medicine, and that's where it stands. So I don't have any details. I don't even know if that story is actual and factual, because I do know Lady C to not tell the truth all the time, even though I can't say that she's lying about this because I don't know. I know she lied on me a number of times, but I'm not saying that she's lying here. I'm just like, she doesn't have that sterling history of truthfulness with me. So yeah, I kind of, skeptical. But if she's telling the truth, that's horrible. And I hope it all works out well for her. Yo Underwood says, you trying to get us locked up. Oh my goodness. Janice says, Lady C probably knew her call would go through if she called the radio station, but unsure if she could reach anyone else. She don't know if she could have reached a family member. But she knew she could reach the radio station. I don't know about that. Twin says, you don't have to say it. Your tags say it. Again, I never got a CCW. I don't know all the rules of CCW, but it seems to me quite logical, which I've said now, I feel like 12 times, but I'll say it for the 13th, and hopefully that'll be it. When they first walk up, just tell them you got it. And then you don't have to answer any questions. Now, you do have to get out the car. If they tell you to get out the car, for those of you, now they got to have a reason for me to get out the car. They kind of don't. I mean, they kind of do, but they kind of don't. They can get you out of the car because they say, it's for officer safety. So they can tell you to get out of the car. They can tell your your passengers to get out of the car. Don't even fight them on that. Just get out the car. They tell you to get out the car. Just get out the car. And record. Don't rely on their body cam. They disappear. There was a malfunction with the body cam, and so the footage isn't there. All of that kind of stuff. You record. Anthony says, because you said it wrong from the giddy up. I would challenge you to go back and listen. And I'm pretty sure, I said, I'm not 100% certain about the gun thing. Pretty sure I said that. But I said it, if there is that rule, just tell them when they first come up to you. I'm about 95% certain that I said that from the get-go. Shahira says, hey, everybody, good afternoon. I was watching yesterday's show because I completely forgot to look for it and forgot to check for you today. Shame on you. Shame on you. Janice says, could people have seen black folks killed for less than not answering a question? And I've seen a lot of black folk arrested for talking too damn much. I've seen people talk themselves into an arrest when the police wasn't actually looking to arrest them. When the police come up, they not your parent. Like I always felt like, when me and Nate got into it and mama would come in, what's going on? I had to explain to mama to make sure my side was put out there. See, mama, what happened was, and then just keep going. Mama wasn't really trying to hear me, but I had to get my story out there. The police ain't your parent. They ain't your parent. If they come up and I'm in the middle of a scrap and they like, what happened? I'm gonna be like, I don't answer no questions. Well, you're gonna get arrested. I'm not answering no questions. But Emanuel, you was in the right. You was defending yourself. I'm not answering no questions. I might say the wrong thing. Now, if I called the police, that's different. This guy assaulted me. I want to file charges against this guy for assault. Twin says you can plead the fifth. Twin, no. Hold on, let me see. I'm real behind on these comments, y'all. Darius is funny. Kenny asked him, what crime am I suspected of? Okay, then I don't answer questions. Wait a minute, what crime am I suspected of? Am I detained? That's what you got to figure out first. Am I detained? Well, we're just trying to figure out am I detained? Well, something happened and we're trying to, am I detained? Am I free to go? Well, we're just trying to ask you a few questions am I free to go? But yes or no, am I free to go? Or am I detained? Tell me, am I free to go? Well, sir, what we're trying to figure, am I being detained? I'm not even asking the reason. I just want to know, am I being detained? If I'm not being detained, I'm going to leave. So I'm asking you again, am I being detained? If they won't answer, now I'm walking away. And then I'm forcing them to stop me. So now I know I'm being detained. Well, you can't leave. Okay, I'm being detained. Thank you. And then I'm silent. Because people talk themselves into more trouble. Oh, greatest storyteller is walking me to an NBA boycott. He's trying to walk me there. So let's see. I asked, he said it was extreme racism. I asked, why is it extreme racism? And I said I don't know if this is a male or a female. I'm assuming it's a male, but that's not necessarily fair of me. But it's still the assumption that I'm making. Until he says, I'm not a he, I'm a she. Said because he's an African American coach and they're trying to get rid of after he took them to the finals last year. Boston and racism go together like cereal and milk. That don't prove that it's racism. That don't even necessarily support that it's racism. He's an African American coach who broke policy, violated policy. And my understanding is it was a little more to it, even though I didn't follow it all that much. But my understanding is a little more to it than just he had sex with somebody. So again, that don't get me to the point of a boycott based on extreme racism. If a cop tells you to answer their questions or else they will arrest you, will you answer their questions? No. No. I'm about to go to jail. I might get beat up because you know. So I'm about to go to jail, get beat down possibly by the police, and eventually get out and then have a lawsuit. I'm about to get paid. No, I'm not answering the question. There is no law. That's an unlawful arrest. Hold on. Just so I'm clear, you're arresting me because I don't want to answer your questions? Yep. All right. Hands behind my back. I'm not going to resist at all. Let's go. No, I'm not answering. No, Andre. No. Take that ride. Take that case. Get you a lawyer. And get paid. Now, it'll be us paying you. It won't be that police officer, but maybe that'll change policy. Let's see. A lawyer said once you open your door, you consent to a search. Whatever lawyer told you that, and I'm not a lawyer, that lawyer don't know what he talking about. You can actually consent to a search and then rescind that consent. Like, oh, they searching. No, I changed my mind. Get out of my car. I changed my mind. No, get out of my car. And they're supposed to stop searching. Now, that part I wouldn't trust. I don't think they're going to stop. Okay, I got to stop. Let me get out the car. I don't believe that they will do that, but they're supposed to. So, no, opening your door does not mean consent. What lawyer told you that? Just curious. I make sure I never go to that lawyer. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. Miss Pittsburgh listening to Lincoln's replay and trying to hear the story. Wow, the story is wow scary. All right. Janice says, they walk up, you tell them I have a CCW, and they reach for their gun. Okay. And they might shoot you. Like they did. I can't remember the brother name in Minnesota. He told them he had a gun, and they ended up shooting him and killing him. Okay. That's a possibility, Janice. But at the same time, if they ask you, do you have a gun? And you say, yeah, they might shoot you too. So, what they say, 6 in one hand, half dozen in the other. Ross says, don't consent, don't talk, and shut that up. Exactly. I wouldn't even answer when they read me my Miranda rights and say, do you understand these rights? I'm not answering no questions. AJ Williams says, I worked at Lewis Center / Summit for 20 plus years. They are evil, and I feel bad for those patients that don't have people to advocate for them. They can force you to take deadly medicine, and the judges, all right, I gotta hide that so that I can read the rest of it. Oh, that was the rest of it. And the judges are in on it. Okay. Janice, she's trying to run people away. See, Janice, there you go, trying to sabotage my show. Why are you trying to sabotage? See, I knew you was playing favorites between me and Lincoln. I knew you was playing favorites. Talking about people can turn on the Lincoln Ware Show rebroadcast, airing as we speak to hear Lady C call in. Just trying to get people away from my little broadcast to the giant Lincoln Ware. See, Janice, I knew you was against me. Are you answering questions under threat of arrest because of obstruction? No. No. Not answering your question is not obstruction. Not answering questions is not obstruction. No, not doing it. Let's see. Brent checking in from Dallas. E, you and CPD got history. You getting tased a few times, bro. I know. If that ever go down, if I ever get arrested, even I'm just peacefully walking down the street, like when I was down there at that protest, and they told me I couldn't stand where I was standing, which was a public place and it wasn't blocked off. But when they was telling me I couldn't stand where I was standing, and I thought for a minute I was gonna get arrested, I was totally prepared to get arrested, get beat up, get tased, and go to jail. I was prepared for that. Mentally, I was prepared for that. The racism is the woman. The white woman also broke protocol and was not disciplined at all. This is proof of racism. I think that's proof of sexism. I think that's proof of sexism. That I'll give you that. Sexism, some people would say reverse sexism, whatever. Sexism exists. But that don't prove that it was racism. They suspended the man and didn't suspend the woman. How is that? Oh, well, but is she a white woman? That still don't necessarily make it racism. Come on, keep walking me there. Keep walking me there. Philando Castile, thank y'all, because I couldn't remember his name. I'm behind on my comments. So you are an attorney, or you playing one on podcast? Did you ever wonder why they ask you to get out of the car? It kind of don't matter. They got a right to ask you. They got a right to get you out of the car. I'm not an attorney. I'm not even playing one on the podcast. I'm just giving some good advice so that you don't end up in jail. Well, you might still end up in jail, but you didn't talk yourself into jail, or you didn't resist yourself into jail. I'm telling you, they got a right to tell you to get out of the car. They got a right to tell your passengers to get out of the car. If they tell you to get out of the car, just get out of the car. Just get out of the car. Don't fight them on it. You can ask them why, but get out the car. Get out the car. They got a right to do that. I'm just trying to give you a heads up, because a lot of people don't know that. Or some people don't know that. Now, I would go as far as to say a lot of people don't know that. Now, your passengers don't necessarily have to give up their ID. Go, we pull him over. Who are you? Let me see some ID for everybody in the car. No, I'm not giving you my ID. Do you suspect me of committing a crime? I will ask that question. Well, you're in the car. Do you suspect? You pull him over for speeding. Do you suspect me of committing a crime? Then you're not getting my... No. Well, get out the car. All right, I'm out the car. You give me your ID or you're going to get arrested. Hands behind the back. Let's go. The police got away with unjustly murdering Tamir Rice. Arrested Joe Black A. is no consequences, and you know this. What they got to do with anything? Just because they get away with it don't mean we let them get away with it. If that make any sense. Um, Ross talking to Anthony says, real talk, I had misdemeanor warrants for failure to appear. The police came for a minor issue. I didn't open the door and called 911 for them trespassing. They had to leave my property. CPD doesn't issue, oh no, where did it go? Doesn't issue paper warrants. They talking about come to the computer to see. Get out of here. All right. Cortano says that lady not white. All right. R. says you wasn't prepared to go to the JC. I was. I didn't, thank goodness. I didn't want to. There's a difference between being mentally prepared for something and wanting to do it. Oh, now Janice trying to cover her little tracks. I can do several things at the same time. I assume others can too. Just heard some say they don't know the whole story, not trying to sabotage. Yeah, cover your little tracks, Janice. Janice, you know I'm just teasing you. I had to say that because some people will, he was attacking Janice. And I believe Janice know I'm just giving her a hard time. I don't know why. But I find it's fun to give Janice a hard time. I don't know why. AJ Williams says he should have known better, talking about the coach of the Boston Celtics. Stop making excuses for him because he is black and she is white. He knows the history. All right, somebody says she ain't white. Ben says, they always ask you to get out for a reason. Do your research. Sometimes they just tell you to get out the car. What do you mean they always ask you to get out for a reason? What does that mean? No, sometimes they say, step out the car. When they say step out the car, just step out the car. What are you talking about? Do your research. What do you mean they always ask you? I don't know what that means. Help me. Damn, the police really got it out for you, Black Panther Mutulu Shabazz X. Do they really? See, now I'm concerned. Thank you for putting me up on game. Rachel says still praying for Sandra Bland. Yes. Same reason you gave Link a hard time. You just petty. You really shouldn't give a hard time to women that are not your wife. Oh my goodness. They replaced Tony Dungy with Jay Gruden. They replaced Mark Jackson with Steve Kerr. Boston Celtics is replacing a black coach, continuing with the history of racism. I'm sorry, I'm not sold on this yet. I'm not sold on this one yet. Let me. Britt.
And stop trying to give hard time to other women, Daniel. What's going on?
Nothing much. What's on your mind?
Oh, no, just wanted to check in real quick. I can't stay very long. But today is Glenn Washington Williams' son, Miles' 16th birthday.
All right.
So lot of, respect and brotherly love for Glenn. I got to specify that on the afternoon experiment. But yeah, just wanted to, let everyone know his sister Ginger hit me up this morning. So, if you have it in your heart and in your bank account to, shoot him some birthday cash, by all means, please do. So, but that's all I have for today.
All right. Well, happy birthday to Miles.
All right. Have a good one.
Brent, I appreciate the call.
Okay.
All right. That's Brent. Happy birthday to Miles. Am I a troublemaker or a freedom fighter? Neither. I'm neither a troublemaker nor am I a freedom fighter. I'm just a dude that believe, look, some stuff happened that can be avoided. Some stuff happened that can be avoided. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that the situation with the person known as Lady C would have been avoided, but it sounds reasonable to me that if you don't tell them you have a gun, because you don't have a gun on your person, they can't even use that as an excuse. But if you say, yeah, I got a gun, and somebody done said you threatened them with a gun, but if you're like, I'm not answering that question, now they got no proof. Do that mean that things wouldn't still escalate? No, not necessarily. But sometimes people, well-meaning people, trying to be honest and forthright, find themselves in a bad position because they answered questions that they probably should never have answered. And I know that, look, again, I'm not a lawyer. I am not a lawyer. Hold on, let me do this. Let's see. Let's edit this. With some exclamation points. Where's the exclamation points? I can't even see this. There we go. Let me save that. Put that up there. There we go. I am not a lawyer. But I do believe we should be learning our rights. The ones in particular that, we may need. The ones that we may need. Police pull you over and tell you to step out the car. You kind of need to know. They got a right to tell you to step out the car. They don't have to tell you why. And if you refuse to step out the car, then they can arrest you. I think we should know that. We should know that. I'm certain there's so many rights that we have that I don't know about, and I wish somebody would just tell me. I wish somebody who had more knowledge, even though somebody told me today I know all of it. I tell you, I don't. But again, I appreciate the compliment. Somebody who has more knowledge about this stuff would openly share this stuff with us. Just openly say to people, you don't have to answer police questions when they ask you, right? You know that not answering a question is not considered obstruction. You know that, right? It's little things like that. You know that they have a right to tell you to get out of the car and you have to get out. And if you don't, they can arrest you, right? Little things like that. Just tell us so that we know. And you can decide, I know I don't have to answer questions, but I'm going to answer them anyway. You can make that decision for yourself. But knowing, as they used to say on G.I. Joe, knowing is half the battle. Knowing is half the battle. And it vexes me just a little bit. When I mean, like this stuff I'm saying, I ain't really say nothing except you don't have to answer questions. And that turned into a whole thing. Because, like somebody, I think it was Kenny, but I'm not 100% sure, said, hey, look, we was taught this stuff as little kids and we have to retrain ourselves. But you always got somebody fighting. Always got somebody fighting you. Well, no, that ain't true. Because if you don't answer, then they'll arrest you. I'm just trying to let y'all know. Andre says, does Cecil Thomas or Wyatt know these basic laws? I'm certain they do. Can you get them on the show and share knowledge with us? I can try. I can try. Will you believe them? If somebody else tell you you don't have to answer questions, will you believe them? If somebody else tell you they can get you out of your car, will you believe them? If somebody else tell you that the passenger doesn't have to give up his ID when you get stopped unless the police suspect them of a crime, will you believe them? Let's see. Ben says that's not true. You're spreading false information. Here's his logic behind that. I have refused to step out of the car without valid reasons and they didn't arrest me. Again, y'all make this stuff a little too hard sometimes. I didn't say if you don't step out of the car, you will get arrested. I said if you don't step out of the car, they can arrest you. Police have a lot of discretion. So if they tell you to step out of the car and you refuse, they can arrest you. Doesn't necessarily mean they will. They might be all right with it and let you argue just a little bit, whatever. They might be in that mood, but they can arrest you. So it's not false information. They didn't arrest you doesn't mean they couldn't arrest you. Let's see. I think this might be another compliment. You are a proud narcissist. Personality qualities include thinking very highly of oneself, needing admiration, believing others are inferior, and lacking empathy for others. All right, let me see. Do I think highly of myself? Sure. Do I need admiration? I don't need it, but I do require it. Do I believe others are inferior? It is some, depending on what you're talking about, people who are inferior in terms of, being able to understand logic and, things like that. So I'll go with that. There are some people in certain areas that are inferior to me, just like I'm inferior to some other people. Like, I would say Shaquille O'Neal is far more superior a basketball player. I'm an inferior basketball player when you're doing that comparison. So I'll give you that one, yes. And I lack empathy for others. Let me see, do I lack empathy? I have to check inwards. Okay, depending on the situation, yes, I lack empathy for some others. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you for spelling it out. I'm a proud narcissist, and I'm glad that you recognized it. Thank you. He's just full of compliments today. Whatever happened to the right to be silent? I was silent, and because I got arrested. Did you sue? Hold on. Were you arrested because you were silent? And if so, did you sue? What did they charge you with? Silence? It's not a code that they can charge you with. So what were you actually arrested for? And if it was obstruction and your only obstruction was not answering questions, did you sue? Did you sue? So many questions. So many questions I have. One is a former cop and a lawyer, right? I believe so. And your point? Are you saying you would believe them? Anthony says, you ain't representing Lakin anymore. Ain't nobody talking to you. There might be some truth to that. Oh, I bet I could get a lawyer on my show. I could get a lawyer. That says those YouTubers are savage. Let's see. I have had more police interactions than years you have been on radio. You are speaking out of your lane on this issue. What am I saying that's incorrect, Benny? What am I saying? Tony says, yes, I sued and won. Well, good. So that, for those of y'all who don't, that means you have a right to be silent, and they're violating your rights if they arrest you for being silent. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Tony. I'm waiting for Benny to tell me what I'm speaking out of my lane about. Renee says, Dag, I missed everything. Well, hello, all. You ain't missed nothing, Renee. You ain't missed nothing. You miss people mad because they have rights. And somehow this little short, fat, gray-haired black man on a computer or TV or phone screen is telling them they have certain rights. And how dare you, little short, fat, gray-haired black man, know your rights and advise us to exercise them if we want to. That's it. That's all you meant. That's it. Do you feel the National Basketball Association is a racist organization? Is the Livingston? I'm going to just take the first part because I believe that's what you meant. Do I feel that it's a racist organization? I feel like racism permeates everything here in the United States of America and probably worldwide. Do I believe there's some elements of racism there? Absolutely. Absolutely. So 700 WOW was a superior station to the Buzz. Do you think that it was? Let's check it. Oh, let's see. There's a difference between asking a question, being nosy, and them asking a question knowing you did it and they were going to arrest you either way. Okay, that's true. It's Regina. What did I say? What did I say? I'm sorry if I didn't say Regina. I meant Regina. The great storyteller says, my bad, I meant to say Mr. Livingston. Okay. I said Renee. Ooh, where did I get Renee from? One of my very best friends live in this great state of Alabama. Her name is Renee. Well, I wasn't thinking about Renee. But now that you bring it up, I should probably give her a call. 700 WLW. I don't know where that came from. But if he thinks it's superior, who am I to say in his mind that it's not superior? Great storyteller says 700 and 1230 were both agenda driven, but 700 seems like they gave their hosts, I guess, more freedom to speak their minds. I'm not sure how you're defining agenda driven. I know when I was there, no one was given an agenda. People saw stories and topics and different information, and they were allowed to put it out there. But I would say, yes, there were, for lack of a better term, Well, I'm sure there's no lack of a better term, but I just want to say it this way. There were reins put on, depending on who was there, what, how. Maybe I shouldn't have went with reins because I don't know a whole lot about riding horses, but who to put the brakes on and who could and who couldn't say what. So I would agree. Probably at 700, they have more freedom to say whatever it is that they want to say. But a part of that is the listeners. Those white listeners, they be all right with them saying everything, anything and everything under the sun. If I say something they don't agree with, they calling my supervisor trying to get me fired. They calling corporate trying to get me fired. And then corporate get tired of getting calls because I said something that somebody didn't like. And they're relentless coming after me. But this same person, I'm not even going to say who I'm talking about, but this same person, they'll call 700 and 700 will tell them they going to spank your big fat black ass. This is an actual something that I heard a particular caller on 700 having a conversation, and the hosts, white guys, was giving her the business. At one point, they told her, basically, shut up, we'll spank your big fat black ass. I want to say, minus the shut up part, I will spank your fat black ass is a direct quote. The next day, that person called to complain and try to get me fired for saying something not even about them that they didn't agree with. Never called and complained about what they said on 700. Sometimes some of us did that to ourselves. So some of us created the situation where the black hosts on talk radio were not given the freedom to speak their minds, held to such a different standard. I don't even know if it's a higher standard, just such a different standard. So, yeah. The hosts on 700, they do have more freedom to speak their mind. And it ain't just the hosts. So, yeah. Okay, I am going to say that was Lady C. When she called checking me fine. I heard her on 700 one day, and they was telling her they going to spank her fat black ass. Hung up on her. And she just giggling. And the next day, she called my show. I don't even remember what it was. I definitely didn't tell her I was going to spank her fat black ass. And she was calling the office and corporate trying to get me fired. But they can tell you that they going to spank your fat black ass. And that's okay. So yeah, sometimes some of us do that to ourselves. Sometimes. 700 got better equipment, no doubt about that. No doubt, no doubt. Ben says, don't let E-Man tell you have to step out of the car because you don't. That's why they ask you to step out or let you tell it they are being polite. All right. Yeah, listen to Ben. The guy who won't even call in and have his voice heard. Listen to him. And some of y'all will. But I'm just telling you, he's wrong. They will ask you to step out, but then they will order you out. They ask you to be polite. Yes. So I'm going to have to ask you to step out of the car. They're trying to, be polite. And if you don't do it and they feel like it, okay, step out of the car. I don't want to have to get you out of this car. They'll bust your windows and everything to get you out. take this call. Jason.
Any other time it was a quick Jason, but I've been listening all day, and you started off the show well. When I came in, you were talking about the police asking you where you going, where you been, where you. Yeah, I'm not answering them questions. That's not anything I'm gonna answer. And I just called because dude said you don't have to get out the car when they ask you to. I didn't believe you at first when you used to say it on the buzz. I used to be like, nah, he lying. You ain't got to get out. It's your car. I looked it up. Every lawyer online, the First Amendment audit, if they say get out the car, the Supreme Court said you better go and get out the car or you're going to catch a charge. Because they basically ruled that it's in the officer's safety. If he's asking you to get out, or he or she's asking you to get out the car, it's for their safety, and they're going to err on their side every time.
Yep.
So you might as well just get on out the car.
Yeah, that's what I said. Just easy, just get out the car. And Ben, he says they asked him to get out the car. He didn't get out, and he didn't get arrested. And I'm like, well, then cool, that's good. But they could have. Just because they didn't doesn't mean they couldn't, because they definitely could have.
I ain't buying it. I ain't never just heard of an officer say get out the car. You be like, nah, I'm good. And then, oh, okay, never mind then.
I have actually seen it. I've actually seen some people, everybody that I've seen do it was white. And I've seen them argue with police about getting out of the car. And then the police officer relents and says, okay, then just give me your driver's license or whatever the case. I've seen it happen, but they could have pushed the issue and arrested that person.
Well, that's them, not us. I ain't
Right.
worried about them. They get to do a lot of stuff that we don't get to do.
True.
And they were talking about the CCW, and I'm glad, I think it was Robert called and cleared that up, because I was kind of confused. I have my CCW, but now you don't have to have a permit, so why do I have to tell you I have a gun, but the other people don't? So I'm glad he cleared that up. I'm still going to double check on that, though. But he sounded like he had some sense in his head, so I'm going to go with what he said for now.
Are you keeping your CCW, or are you considering letting it expire?
No, I renewed mine before they put that crap on the books. The thing is, a lot of people don't know, like, you good to carry over here, but if you cross that bridge, you in trouble. You cross the Indiana state line, you in trouble. I can do both. I can go on where I want to go as long as they honor my permit. You ain't got no permit, drive over that bridge, they catch you with that concealed carry, you in trouble. You done got yourself in a whole mess of trouble you don't want to be in.
All right.
And like a few of the people said, when they run your plates, that CCW definitely pops up. Like, he definitely has a concealed carry, so he may be armed.
Yeah.
Like, that's the best positive about it. They can't say, oh, I didn't know he didn't have a gun, or I didn't know. Like, nah, you knew. Even though you'll still be dead, and somebody will have you on a shirt, and your family get to sue the police, but you'll still be dead.
Yeah, it's terrible. But yeah.
But that's all I have to say.
All right. Hey, Jason, I appreciate your call.
All right, thanks.
All right. That was Jason. Well, look, y'all believe Ben if y'all want to. So y'all black listeners call corporate, then act surprised when the host is pulled off the show. But it's usually not the people who were calling corporate, because the people who make a decision to call corporate, like, not even just call the local offices. I mean, call corporate in, Latham, Maryland, asking to speak to Kathy Hughes. Like, legit. And some of these people actually get through to Kathy Hughes' office. What other company are you getting through to the CEO? Because you got... but some of these people actually get through to Kathy Hughes' office. Now, I can't say I know with 100% certainty right now off the top of my head that Kathy actually talked to somebody from Cincinnati who had a complaint about me. But they be relentless, like calling like one of their relatives is in jail and they trying to get them out. Calling 3-4 times a day. Like, really, you ain't got nothing better to do. But because I said the B word on the air, You want me fired that bad that you calling corporate because you done exhausted everything locally. You done talked to the general manager, the sales manager, the receptionist, everybody else. You done exhausted all of that. Ain't nobody gonna fire me. So now you mad at the general manager and you telling the general manager that I got pictures of his naked wife. So now you calling corporate to get the general manager fired because he won't fire me and you want me fired at the same time 3-4 times a day for like 3, 4, 5 weeks straight. Now those people, if somebody get pulled off the air, they not surprised. They like, good, I got him. But the rest of y'all be like, what happened? But I'm telling y'all that happens. I'm telling y'all that happens. Corporate calling in, making people apologize over the air for saying stuff that they say down on 700 just as an afterthought. And nobody calling on Cunningham talking about he need to apologize because he said so-and-so. That's not happening. Trust me, that's happening at the buzz. Or at least it was. I don't know if it's still happening. I'm not there anymore, so maybe it's not happening. No, it has happened to Lincoln as well. It has happened to Lincoln as well. Actually, I think Lincoln's the one who they made apologize. Oh, I was so upset. I was so on Lincoln's team, even though Lincoln was wrong. But I was so on Lincoln's team. He shouldn't have to apologize. Like, don't do that. He didn't state something as a fact that wasn't factual in this particular case. He gave his opinion, and it hurt somebody's feelings, so he had to apologize on air. I was so upset about that. Somebody said put their names out there. I did. Somebody said Billy. Now Lawrence was open with the fact that he was calling corporate. Jason says, who was the host? I don't remember who the host was. It was two guys. I don't remember who the host was. But Lady C would call the station a lot, and they would dog her out on a regular basis. So it could have been anybody, but it was one of the shows with two guys on it, but I don't remember what it was. Sounds like white audiences are more loyal to their people than the black audience from your description. I don't know if I would say that. I would say I think the corporations are less afraid. White corporations are less afraid of pushback than black corporations. And I think a part of that is because they have so many more resources. They got more resources, more advertisers, all of that kind of stuff. They got more of all of that. So they like, we out here, whatever. People know what they get when they listen. The advertisers know what they getting when they advertise. And so that just is what it is. Whereas, the black radio stations is out there scrambling for every dollar. It really is hard. They out there scratching and scraping and fighting for every dollar. And so anything that might happen, and they be we can't risk it. Y'all might not remember this. I remember this. I jokingly said one year, and it was clearly a joke, It was some parade, and I said, it was either like Memorial Day or Veterans Day. I think it was Veterans Day. And I was like, oh yeah, I went to the Veterans Day parade. Me and J Love was joking around. And I was like, yeah, and I tried to get a salute, but my hand cramped up, and only one finger came up when I saluted the veterans. And everybody was calling in, jokingly telling me, oh, you was cramping. That means you need some potassium. Maybe you need to eat more bananas. Somebody called Jeff Weiler. Jeff Weiler canceled all their advertising. Somebody called, I think it was Provident at the time. Provident Bank canceled all of their advertising. It was somebody else they called and they canceled all of their advertising. I'm like, it was a silly joke. Like, I clearly didn't cramp up. And I didn't even go to the parade. We was being silly, but and it was black people who made those calls. How you know it was black people, Emanuel? Because people took credit for it. Black people did that. It's crazy. It's crazy. Ben. Ben says, why ask if they have the power? You have to be being investigated for an arrestable offense. All right, Ben, you're wrong, but you can believe that. He paid this guy to call in. Right, right. I'm paying people to call in. I'm paying people to call in. The unemployed dude is paying people to call his podcast for the right now 50 people watching. It's not even monetized. What would be the benefit of me paying somebody to call? Oh my goodness. See, that's what somebody said, y'all can't get under my skin. Stupidity gets under my skin. See, these are the type of people, what was it, R. Wash? You talk about, I think I'm superior to people. And it comes to like just simple logic and reasoning. I am clearly superior to Ben. Clearly. Clearly. Oh, boy. Oh. Some black people would rather get you terminated than get money or have sex. um, Emmanuel, you used to burn. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, let me speak to Katie. I'd like to report. If y'all just knew all them times when y'all thought I was joking about corporate and legal, it wasn't jokes. At one point, and this I won't say they did because of me, but I think they did. At one point, we had one of the corporate lawyers assigned to Cincinnati. All the corporate lawyers are up in Maryland. None of the other stations had a corporate lawyer at their station. We had one in the station. And periodically she would come down and be like, Emanuel. I'd be like, I didn't say nothing wrong. Oh, then was good times. Oh. Let me see. I wonder if the man who Lincoln said had died called and complained. Oh, I keep bringing that up. I guess I have to tell y'all who that was. I don't mind. It was Clyde Bennett. Lincoln called in and reported that Clyde Bennett had committed suicide, when clearly Clyde had not committed suicide. And he was so sad. Like, he said it, and I was like, my heart dropped. Like, oh, no, no. And the prosecutor's office confirmed it. I'm sad that Clyde Bennett has committed suicide. And Jay was like, what? Lincoln, are you sure? I talked to the not the prosecutor's office. He was talking, it was either Mike Allen or Joe Dieters. I can't remember which one. So it was the prosecutor, the Hamilton County Prosecutor's Office. And they confirmed it. And we was all like, oh no. And I want to say 5 minutes later, Clyde called in heated. He was heated. I would have been heated too. My kids are hearing that stuff. I was like, oh, Lincoln. I never let him live that down. I never let him live that down. It was horrible. It is so not funny. It's so not funny. Oh boy. Oh. But yeah, no, people did. People was always mad at me. People was always mad at me. Um, let's see, man, you stayed on the carpet. Yeah, people liked it. People liked the. It just happens. That's what happens. At least my experience in black radio, black talk radio. But like I said, I would hear them over at 700 saying all kind of stuff, and I'd be like, I could never say that. I could never get away with saying that. I could never get away with saying that. But Donnie, y'all know Donnie, the coach. Donnie. He called trying to get me fired. Y'all all know about Chuck. The reason that he don't call the radio station no more is because corporate got tired of him calling and complaining about me, and really more complaining about my brother. And so they had to tell him, don't call the station no more. But Lincoln put Chuck up to that. Yeah, Lincoln put Chuck up to that. Lincoln was mad at me at that time, and he told Chuck that if in order to get me fired, all he had to do was call. And that was when, y'all remember Lincoln had what's the Queen City Sausage? Y'all remember when Queen City Sausage went away? Not this last time, but the time before that. That was Lincoln's fault. Because Lincoln told Chuck to call corporate and complain about me and get me fired. And Chuck didn't know how to stop. And Chuck made it out like I was a racist and I was a this and I was a that and I said this and I said that. And then he got people together and they start calling our advertisers. They start calling our advertisers. And then advertisers started canceling. Yeah, Lincoln set all that up because he was mad at me. And he thought that was a way to get rid of me. And I never got paid for, we got all these advertisers. Lincoln, would get, because, you advertising. And Lincoln, anytime just about you hear Lincoln Ware say, this is Lincoln Ware, and if you want to, Lincoln he get paid for that. Lincoln Ware, and if you want the Lincoln Ware breakfast cup, Lincoln getting paid for that. I don't actually know if he advertises for that. This is Lincoln Ware, and I'll be at Jeff Weiler. Lincoln getting paid for that. Anytime he do them live reads, he getting paid for that. I never got paid for none of that stuff. So none of that stuff mattered to me. I didn't care. I didn't care if Jeff Weiler advertised. They didn't give me no car. I didn't care if Queen City Sausage advertised. They didn't give me free sausage and a check. I didn't care about none of that stuff. So it came back to bite him. And then he was mad. But yeah, that's just the way people, that's one of the differences between, say, a 700 and a 12. There's a lot of differences, clearly. A lot of differences. When people be like, oh, look that up. Lincoln ain't got time to look that up on the air. And Raven ain't got time. Do any of y'all remember The Fan? Do any of y'all remember The Fan? Fan was a sports station that Radio 1 created here in Cincinnati. And it was, a general market station. And, hold on, Janice saying, a bit of slander going on. I would love for somebody to sue me. Sue me, because I can prove it. It's not slander if it's true. So if somebody wanted to sue me for anything I say on here, I don't say nothing but the truth, and it can be proven. So trust me, it's not slander. I don't even worry about that, because I only tell the truth. Nat says he remembered The Fan. The Fan was a general market station. That means white. It was a general market station. And so Radio 1, having already, the buzz was already there, a talk station. And on the buzz, you had a host and a producer. That was it. The producer is responsible for literally everything that goes on that the host don't do. On The Fan, they had the hosts, they had a person to run the board, they had a person to screen the calls, and they had actual producers for the shows. So where, like right now, Lincoln is in there doing the show and Raven is answering the calls and going to commercial, turning on mics, turning off mics, and doing anything else that's got to happen. In place of Raven, there would have been 4 people doing that job. That's how they do at General Market, even Radio 1. At the General Market, when they had a General Market station, they had 4 people doing Raven's job. Well, at that time, it was my job. Whereas now they got the 1 person doing it for the black side. They had 4 people doing it for the white side. That's just the way it goes. So when people be like, oh, it's a drop off in quality. And oh, why didn't he research this before? And oh, why didn't he this before that? It's just him. He don't have a production staff to actually do all of that stuff that they do. To be able to say, here's this, here's that. And I used to try to do it. When Lincoln would be talking and he would say something that wasn't true or wasn't, correct, I would, in his ear, say, oh, no. It wasn't 12. It was 23. And he'd say, oh, 23. Try to, have as much information about everything as I could. But, and it's not even about downsizing. It's not even about downsizing. They wasn't downsizing. They just don't. If they started a white talk station right now, Radio 1, if they took La Llorona, what is it? I don't remember the name of what's the Hispanic station over there, y'all? Oh, I don't remember. I keep wanting to say it's La Verdad, but it's not La Verdad. It's not La Nacho. It is not. What is it? What is the name? Janice, La Grande, thank you. Janice says, yes, it is about downsizing. It happens everywhere. Janice, it is not. It was not about downsizing. It was not about downsizing. Because we were there, fully operational, with 1 person. When they started a new station, they hired 4 people to do the job that 1 person was doing on the bus. That's not downsizing. That's upsizing. If they wanted to do it right, then they would have been like, okay, well, we're going to give Emanuel 3 people over there to help him. And then we're going to hire the 4 people over here. No, they wasn't going to do that. And they definitely wasn't going to just have a white station with just 1 person doing what I was doing, because the quality suffers. The quality suffers. And they know that. They are going to have, Nat, a full production team at a General Market station. They're going to do it. Black station, they'll make do. Well, why y'all black folks do it? Y'all could have walked out. That's true. That's true. They weren't successful. They had 4 people, 3.5 of which had no idea really what they was doing. Why didn't we walk out? Why didn't we pick it? I don't know. I went and complained about it. I did. I went to, I can't remember his name. The wild-haired dude. I can't remember his name. But I went to him and I told him, like, look, and this is, I'm going to try to say exactly what I said to him. I said, look, I see what's happening with the fan. And I think this is some racist stuff. because y'all got white people in here running a station that y'all hope to attract white people, they get a whole staff. And because over here, this is a black station that y'all know attracts black people, y'all just leave us hanging. Are they making more money too? We can't discuss people and how much money people make. And I was like, yes, you can. You tell me whether or not they making more money. And then he had me go talk to HR and so on and so forth. And I theoretically, I could have quit. But I didn't. But I did go have a conversation with him for what it's worth, which ended up being nothing. And then the station, ended up folding anyway, because they wasn't. Because there's a lot of other stuff that go into it other than just the on air. You gotta, there's support that goes with it that just don't exist at Radio 1. And I remember reading an interview from one of the guys who was on the fan. And once the fan had gone away, and he was saying there was so much potential over there, but they didn't know how to make it work. They didn't have the right supporting elements in place to make everything work. And basically what he said was, they just playing at radio. They not actually doing radio. And that affected us. And when I read it, I was thinking, but they gave y'all all the resources that y'all could want. And there was another guy that worked there who they had kind of put in charge of their production. And I talked to him about it. And, he was saying to me, he said they did give them a lot of resources. But there are other things that the other companies do that they don't do here and apparently don't know how to do. And he was convinced that it could have been successful, but basically he was saying Radio 1 don't know what they doing. And I was like, oh, well, I didn't know that. Brian says, as someone in media / radio, I co-sign what he is saying 100%. Janice says, ho-hum. In those cases, you stay or you leave. Well, I stayed, clearly. But I'm just sharing the story. I'm just sharing the story because it came up talking about 700 versus 1230. 700 has a whole lot of advantages over 1230. A whole lot. If nothing else, they just got people who believe in them. They got people who believe in them. That was one of the big problems. How you going out trying to sell a station that you don't listen to and you don't believe in? So, but it's true. I'm just telling you, again, Janice said, slander. I'm just telling the truth, the 100% truth. Everything I say is true, and anybody can sue me if they want to, but what I'm saying can be proven. So, truth is the best and really only defense for slander. So I'm just telling y'all what the truth is. Let's see. It's like 5:30. I got to get out of here. I'm assuming Wyatt is not coming on today because he didn't call me like, get off the air, dude. Not that he doesn't do that. I'm just joking. I'm teasing. I got to get out of here. I do have other things that I have to do. Got to go over to the church and get everything ready. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me, even though I didn't even really talk about nothing today. But I appreciate y'all hanging out with me, talking to me. I appreciate the people who called, and just everybody who supports. I appreciate it more than y'all know. TC calling in at 6. Okay, you call in at 6 if you want to. I got to get out of here. Brent want to know, has Herschel Walker filed his lawsuit against the Daily Beast? He ain't filing no lawsuit. He ain't filing no lawsuit because, again, the truth is a defense against a slander or libel claim. All they do was just pull up, like they say, they got the receipts. They pull up the receipts. That'll be that. That'll be that. When you're telling the truth, you don't really worry about that stuff. And when you're spreading rumors, you should be concerned. But when you know the truth and you can back it up, you be good with it. All right, y'all. Got to get ready to get out of here. Again, I appreciate y'all. I hope something amazing happens in your life today. And I really mean that from the bottom of my heart. Life changing. Today. You still got some hours left in the day. You could get a call. That'll be like, oh my goodness, they approved me. Not necessarily for a loan, but for whatever it is that you're waiting for. So I hope something amazing happens in your life today. Life changing, all right? Until next time, it's been the Afternoon Experiment. My name is Emanuel Livingston. My title is the King of Talk. I'm out, y'all. Peace.